Welcome to Unexplained Reality, the podcast about the strange and unexplained but real. We talk about Bigfoot and aliens and UFOs, missing people, and historic events and figures. And if you have an encounter or experience or just want to chat, send us an email, unexplained.reality@yahoo.com. You can also find us on the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Come connect with us. If you want to donate, you got a couple dollars in your pocket, you want to give to the show, you can find us on the Patreon and the PayPal. Ooh, yeah.
Hey, quit making all that noise, redneck. Quit whooping hollering.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Unexplained Reality with Brian Quinn and
Harrison Quinn. Always do it early.
I know you started off. I thought he had it. Thought you had it there.
Just so ready
Just not
to do this episode.
so excited.
Exactly.
Can't stand it. It's been so long since we've done one. You're just like oozing.
Exactly. How did you know? You're just psychic.
I'm just your dad, man. I just know these things. Dad power. Mom power. Mom can have mom powers. Dad can have dad powers.
Yeah.
Just how it is. Maybe one day you'll know the power we have.
Maybe.
So, it's been got the holidays out of the way. Well, the first set of holidays, the pre-holidays.
Yeah. Not all of them.
Turkey Day out of the way. So we've been kind of slack. We haven't got an episode out. Sorry. We apologize for that. So, we're trying to, we're just kind of, it's the holidays. It's a lot of stuff going on, and we get them out when we can. So we apologize if you're expecting one every week. We'd like to do that, just don't always work out. So, our normal spiel. If you maybe you're listening to us for the first time, so it might not be normal to you. So if you are, that's great. That's awesome. Go subscribe to us on your favorite podcatcher. Rate us, review us if you like the show. If you want to contact us, if you have a story or an experience you want to share, you can reach us at unexplained.reality@yahoo.com. You can hit us on Facebook. We have a Facebook group. You can come find us and join us. Just send us a request. We'll accept you. And we're on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So, what are you doing over there, man? I'm hearing a lot of noise. Like you're clicking around, playing with stuff.
No, I'm not. I'm just sitting here.
That's not just sitting there. Quit fiddling. We're doing a show, for Christ's sakes.
All right.
Just get a hold of yourself. Get serious, man. This is a serious show. So, anyways, so that's our spiel. We'd love to hear from you if you have something you want to share. We're open to anything. We talk about whatever here. So if it's strange and unusual, we like it. So you got anything for us, buddy? You got anything you want to say before we get into the news?
Nope.
Wow. Such a contributor.
Absolutely.
You're just a company man. Well, the first one I got is from Phantoms and Monsters, and it's about a coy wolf warning in New York City suburbs. And if you don't know what a coy wolf is, it's a coyote-wolf hybrid. It says, like I said, it's from Phantoms and Monsters. It says, police are cautioning residents to stay away from a large hybrid coyote that's been wandering around New York City suburb. The Clarkstown Police Department in Rockland County posted the warning about the coy wolf, part coyote, part wolf, on Facebook, along with a photo early Monday after the creature was seen near Congers. The coy wolf is larger than most coyotes, up to 75 pounds. They have different coloring with more gray in their coats and live across the Northeast from New Jersey to Maine. Experts say people who encounter coy wolf should make a lot of noise and wave their arms to make themselves seem bigger. It'll also make you look really awesome too. Don't feed the animals or feed pets or other animals outside, even if it's just birds. Encourage neighbors to avoid feeding wildlife and keep cats indoors if concerned, because that's the number one meal for coy wolf. Cats. Domesticated.
If I was a coyote wolf hybrid, I'd go for cats too.
Yeah. I don't know.
Probably.
He's wandering around New York City, probably goes for whatever he can.
Although get some hot dogs at the hot dog stand in New York.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably getting plenty of food. Clarkstown police said they would summon a licensed trapper or even shoot the animal if it were acting aggressively. Otherwise, it would likely just go back into the woods because New York City's got tons of them.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know, that would be kind of weird. You're walking, you don't think about something like that living in New York City, but I guess, it's, if it wandered into the city somehow, I guess it could survive there just as well as anywhere. All it needs is water and somewhere it can stay warm and something to eat.
Yeah.
Really all of that there.
I didn't even know that there were coy wolves. Like, actually, I didn't know they were animals, like real animals. But
yeah, I've heard about them, but I haven't done a lot of research on them or read about them or anything. But that's
and it kind of makes you think: how did a coy wolf get into New York? Unless someone brought it there,
Yeah,
just wandered into New York.
Yeah, well, it says this is a suburb, so I'm not sure where, it might be on the very outskirts of New York City. So, I mean, it doesn't take very long to get away from New York City and get into some urban areas. I mean, rural areas.
That's true.
Doesn't take long to get away from New York City and get in urban areas. Wait a minute, New York City is an urban area. I mean, you got really all around New York City, you've got rural areas and a dense population there in the city, and then in the immediate outskirts. But after that, I mean, you get to upstate New York, you've got some really deep forests, so no telling what pushed them down. Maybe the Sasquatch pushed them down.
Maybe
They're working for the Sasquatch, who are working for the aliens.
It's an interesting theory.
Hierarchy, So, anyways, I thought that was interesting. So, my next one here is from Cryptozoology News. Comes out of Canada. It says a man in Ontario claims he saw a creature that looked just like Loch Ness Monster. The Ontarian, a professional welder who provided a full name but asked to remain anonymous, told Cryptozoology News he was driving on the highway by Lake Nipissing when he spotted the dinosaur-like creature. I was going to another lake and cottage to go on a fishing trip. I looked over and saw a huge water creature break the surface of the water. I'm certain this was the real deal. It stayed surface for more than 5 minutes, he said, about the June 2001 afternoon encounter. Smartphones weren't yet available, and people didn't carry cameras in their pockets daily. The 40-year-old man described the creature as having a 20-foot long, skinny long neck and a head that seemed small for such a neck. The head was like a football. It was huge, dark in color creature. As soon as I saw it, I thought of Loch Ness Monster. The eyewitness says that the sighting was real and that it was beautiful. But we need nature cameras here for sure. You will get footage, he said. The Loch Ness Monster is a creature, of course, in Ireland, and that many people have supposedly seen. So. What dinosaur is it they think that, if it does exist, is what it is?
Plesiosaur.
Plesiosaur, right? So it's big body, long neck, little tiny head.
Yeah.
Outside of the neck part, it sounds like Jackson. Sorry, that's one
Oh
of
my
our
god.
dogs. Big body and little tiny head. He's junky.
He looks like he's got a big head until you shave him. Then he's
Yeah,
got like a
a
teeny little
peanut
head.
head.
Yeah.
Like a chihuahua head on a terrier or something. It's crazy. All right, my next one here. This one's from Oklahoma City. It says a man says he was startled by a reptilian bipedal creature on an Oklahoma road. Awesome. Love this. The lizard man's in Oklahoma. He left Bishopville. What was it that came through? The hurricane or whatever it was. Wasn't it came through and they were warning people that the lizard man might be on the move?
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. He moved to Oklahoma City. So he'd rather deal with tornadoes. The man, a 63-year-old Oklahoma City dispatcher who asked to remain anonymous, told Cryptozoology News he was driving to work in the early morning when he encountered the purported creature. I was driving east on Southwest 29th Street at 4:30 a.m. on a Saturday. There was a full moon. I usually don't work on Saturdays, but this Saturday we were having the driver safety meeting, so I was on my way in, taking my time and only doing 35 miles an hour. He reported about the December 6, 2015 encounter. I was coming off of a 2-lane to a 4-lane. On my side of the road there was a culvert. The being, jumped out on the side of the road, standing on the curb looking at me. The dispatcher, who claims the humanoid stood there for about 60 seconds and provided Cryptozoology News with a detailed sketch, described it as a 3-foot-tall humanoid with lizard skin. Its color, he says, was cream and iridescent. It had large eyes and small pointed ears. Its eyes were orange with no glow when the headlights hit them. It had a small mouth with a nose similar to a cat. It had 3 toes curled over the edge of the curb with heels like a human. Extremely large thighs that matched the base of its tail. Its tail was extremely long with a huge base tapering down to no bigger than a matchstick, he recalls. The man added that the creature was flicking its tail, standing like an angry cat. But once it was on the move, it carried it straight out behind him. He explains that the being seemed extremely intelligent, and he felt as though it was watching him and thinking, as if it was calculating where it could make it across in front of me without getting hit. It made it to the center yellow line, then looked at me again before sprinting off into the woods on the opposite side of the road. The eyewitness said that it had been traveling the same road. He had been traveling the same road for 7 years and never encountered anything like it. This creature looked like something that belonged in the movie Avatar. Something I will likely never forget, he said. There's another, that's from, talks about
That's pretty.
previous encounters.
I thought that was pretty strange the way he described the coloring on it, iridescent and cream.
Yeah.
Everybody always says it's
Green.
dark and dark and
black or
gray
greenish
mud, mud type color blending
Right.
with the swamp, but kind of a lighter, maybe like glowish kind of iridescent. It's kind of
It's crazy because the sketch he drew of it, the snout looks like a cat, and the ears on the side of the head, but then you get down to the legs, and the legs are massive in proportion to the body. It's got huge. I mean, the thighs are just incredible. It's like powerlifter thighs, and then a little polio, calf muscle legs, lower part of the leg. It's weird looking. It's very out of proportion. Looks like some kind of Pokemon creature or something. Crazy. But man, that would be wild. I mean, who knows? Oklahoma City.
yeah.
Know where it was at? Oklahoma City. Yeah. Weird. I'm not sure about what that could be. All right, let's see what my next one here is. Heard about this one, I think, on Expanded Perspectives. This comes from Columbia, Tennessee. It says a man in Maury County says he saw an unidentified bird he believes could be a thunderbird. 43-year-old teacher L. Broyles told Cryptozoology News he was driving when he saw the animal about 1:30 p.m. October 28th. It was light brown and wingspan of 10 to 12 feet, he said. Broyles claims the sighting lasted about 1 minute and that he has never seen anything like it before. The bird, he adds, was feathered. He did not mention any features about its neck or beak. Thunderbird, also known as roc, R-O-C, is the nomenclature used by the Native Americans to refer to bird-like creatures with reptile features that are believed to be related to extinct pterosaurs. I don't know. There's been a number of those kind of sightings, but he says this one was feathered, so
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be just every species has there's a chance of having one that's just genetically bigger than the average. So maybe this is just a bird we know has a large wingspan, but this one just happened to get a little bit bigger.
Yeah, maybe.
Groceries and.
But I know from fact that there's a not a dinosaur, but a prehistoric bird called the Argentavis that was the biggest. I think it got biggest bird to exist. Not necessarily like because there were the pteranodons and the Quetzalcoatluses, but those were classified under reptiles instead of birds because they didn't have feathers. So the Argentavis was the largest bird ever to live. I think its wingspan was 21 feet, maybe 21 or 22 feet, somewhere around there. And it didn't live that long ago. There's actually a photo of a pretty well preserved. It's not really a fossil. It's basically the body of it, but some of it's missing. But it's most of it there. It's pretty neat.
That's wild. There was another sighting just recently too. It might have happened after this one because this one was in late October, I believe is what it says. October 28th. I can't remember. I'm thinking this other one happened after that, and it was at a race, wasn't it? It was some kind of race, NASCAR maybe.
I'm not sure.
I want to say it was in Tennessee also, but I'm not positive on that. But I saw the video of the shadow. I don't know if anybody saw the bird, but there was this huge bird shadow that went over the racetrack. And it was huge. It was massive. And it went just over one side of it, like, where they were coming down to one side of the track to make the turn. And it just flew over and kind of went towards the center field and made a right and flew back out. And but it was very distinct that it was a bird shadow. It wasn't an airplane flying over or anything like that. And it was a huge shadow, so it had to be a pretty big bird. It was very I don't think that could have been fabricated or faked. It was on the news and people saw it, I guess witnessed it, that were there, saw the shadow. So but I want to say that was in Tennessee also. Anyways, do you have any articles, stories, anything? Anything you want to add?
Not really, no.
All right. Well, we'll probably, what we'll do here is take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get into predator cloaking.
Get into the juicy stuff.
Yeah. So, we'll be back in just a minute.
Tell us a story, Ranger Chat.
Oh, okay. I could tell you about the time I locked eyes with Sasquatch, or about my brush with the elusive Chupacabra. Then there was that encounter with the Mothman.
Yeah, tell us about the Mothman.
Of course, I once saw a lake monster and a sea monster on the same day.
Wow!
That's not even taking all the ghosts, aliens, and UFOs into account.
You've seen all that as a park ranger?
No, son. Those are the creatures I've encountered in my cryptid crate.
What's a cryptid crate?
Cryptid Crate is a monthly subscription box that arrives on your doorstep each and every month. It's filled with various cryptozoology and paranormal themed items such as t-shirts, hats, art, media, and other collectibles.
I want a cryptid crate. Yeah, I want one too.
You can get yours by visiting www.cryptidcrate.com. Sign up is quick and easy, and shipping is always free. I can't wait to get my Cryptid Crate, but for now, how about that story?
All right, welcome back, everybody. Hope everybody got them a drink or a little snack. And we're going to go into this. We're going to talk about predator cloaking tonight. And when I say predator cloaking, I'm talking about cloaking as in like the movie Predator, where, you know, this alien creature is in the jungle and these special forces guys or mercenary type guys are hunting him down, and he, you know, they go in for something else and they run into this thing, and it's basically bending light around itself when it's in cloaking. And there's been a lot of articles or a lot of encounters that have been reported in, you know, recently with people witnessing this type of creature supposedly. And a lot of times these people are running into this and they're not actually seeing a creature. They're just seeing that something is there and it's moving, and, you know, usually it's in a wooded area and they see it. I've seen, you know, heard cases where it's sitting in a tree or it's moving on the ground or moving in the trees, and they can see something moving, but it's bending or reflecting light, almost like mirrors of what's around it. So they can actually see that the light's moving, but they can't actually see a creature, you know. So it's very fascinating, and I thought we'd talk about that tonight. So it's not going to be a very structured show. I'm going to go through a couple of reports that I found, and then I got some other articles. But anything you want to start off with, buddy, before I get into this?
Nope. I think you got it.
All right. So this one's from Cryptozoology News. It says 3 people say they encountered 2 dwarf Bigfoot creatures in the woods of Washington State. Barbara Shoup is an independent researcher dedicated to Bigfooting with her white dog named Gabby around the area of Mount Rainier. Said she was with some members of their group on a tour of her favorite tree structures when they came upon the beast. And if you're not familiar with Bigfooting or researching Bigfoot, tree structures are, you know, things that people say are created by Bigfoot for different reasons. Some say they're for hunting blind. Some say they're like markers, or you know, to mark their way in the woods or let others know, you know, they're there. Claudia and I saw a black creature pop up and run, Shoup said. The animal was described as having a domed head and no neck. It had muscular shoulders that moved extremely fast. The encounter was reportedly caught on camera, but when they reviewed the footage, all they could see was a translucent anomaly in place of the purported Bigfoot. I knew the camera was on, and I aimed it in the general direction where the creature first appeared. The problem is, what was captured on camera is not what we saw. The 40-second video shows Shoup and a group of people walking in the woods as they talk to each other. What the heck was that? Did you see that? A surprised Shoup suddenly says when she notices something moving in the background. Now watch this video, and the video is, you don't see anything. You see some, it almost looks like just the foliage has been, you know, like a wind is going through, but it's only in this one small area. So it's like something was moving there, you know. It says something close and something black and close to the ground took off. It was a small one and it was black. But when we seen through the lens, a translucent shape appears similar to that alien from the movie Predator, quickly moving through the vegetation and away from the camera. Imagine my surprise, cloaked Bigfoot. A few seconds after the first sighting, and according to another woman, a second tiny creature came down from a tree. She says her dog sitting on her lap noticed the monkey-like animal first. It was something black climbing down this tree all the way to the ground, where it disappeared. Juanita explains about the 1-foot-tall cryptid. It had no tail of any kind, and it was going down, I'm assuming head first. It looked like a monkey climbing down. It was quick, she said. Critics argue that the cloaking ability seen on the video could be the result of a few moving branches, creating an optical illusion when disturbed by a small animal walking by. The Gestalt effect, which is the capability of the human brain to generate whole forms when grouping similar objects together. Yeah, but usually you don't do that and make it move. I've seen that before where people have taken pictures of like blob squatches and claim it's something, and you look here and I'm pretty sure that's just shadows and leaves. But a similar cryptid is believed to live in Vietnam, Laos, and Borneo. The Batutut, also known as the Forest People, was reportedly seen by a group of American soldiers from the 101st Airborne Division in the 1970s. I don't know. We'll just keep going with this and we'll discuss it some more. This one's from Phantoms and Monsters. It says, "Hello, I found my way to your website while doing some more research to try to figure out what it was I saw last summer. I live in a very rural stretch of western Washington state, and here's my story. It began in late July when I was forced to make semi-regular patrols around the property on which I live, heavily wooded, very hilly, and wet with a creek and swamp at the bottom. When I was made aware of local drug addicts attempting incursions upon the property. As most of you likely know, drug addicts have a natural tendency towards violence, especially the breed we have in this neck of the woods, or in my neck of the woods. I began carrying a rifle as I made my patrols because, as the old adage puts it, better safe than sorry. Very quickly I found their tracks at the bottom of the hill, and I even managed to claim a gas can as a kind of war trophy. That led me to believe they may be aiming to perform illegal logging on the property, which intensified my patrols. Soon after, I ran into a rather unsettling shape in the forest. I was on another patrol, standard routine procedure, when I passed on an ancient cedar tree. I'd been past it 1.5 million times, but I suddenly felt as though I should take a seat underneath it and rest a while. I sat down under the tree boughs and set my rifle and day pack at my side. I sat in the silence and stillness for a while, taking in all the sounds of the woods had to offer. I almost fell asleep, almost felt as though I had entered the state of Zen. I had the year previously kneeling beside a natural spring after heavy rain. All was well, the world was fine, everything would be okay. I felt wonderful. I opened my eyes and rolled my head to my right to look out into the grove of alder trees. Glancing upwards, I saw a humanoid shape. It was roughly 15 feet up in the air and had the distinct shape of a human head, neck, and shoulders, but no discernible bottom. It just seemed to fade away. The only way I can describe it is similar to the Predator films, in which the titular creature uses a cloaking device. It was very, very similar to the device. At its edges, it seemed reality itself was embossed in that shape. I sat and stared at it for probably about 3 to 5 seconds before an overwhelming feeling of dread and anxiety overtook me. I should add that I'm very tough to genuinely scare. I've been through a great many nasty situations that don't bear mentioning, and suffice to say that this shook me to my very core. I was almost petrified, scared out of my mind and what would happen if I dare move. I finally mustered the strength to remove my glasses and wipe them on my shirt, and redonning them, I could see the shape was still there. The dread grew in intensity tenfold every few seconds, and my naturally calm, rational mind took hold again. I began counting down in my head, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When I reached 0, I thrust an arm under my rucksack shoulder strap, grabbed my rifle, and sprinted home, saying a quick prayer as I ran. I haven't encountered it since, but believe me, there's more to this story. I began asking around online about my experience, if anyone had seen anything similar. I was told time and again, talk to Wynn. Wynn's the person you should see. I contacted Wynn and we talked over my experience before forming some theories. And that time I was still performing my patrols, although I made a point to avoid that area as best I could. I eventually decided that expediency dictated I visit again, and soon after I did. All was well, and it stayed that way for a few months, even getting to the point at which I'd talk aloud into the woods about my problems. I once even left a gift of food for whatever was there. But after talking with another party, who shall remain nameless, activity picked up again. I still don't see the shape, but I certainly felt the anxiety. Early in my patrols, I found a strange L-shaped hole as well, very near the spot. It was very cleanly made, not something an animal would scratch out of the dirt. The hole was very fresh when I first found it, September 3rd of 2016. I made sure to take photos of it. As summer wore into fall and fall into winter, strange things began occurring at the hole as well. Namely, large scratches were appearing near it, about 2 feet long and perfectly straight, as though someone dug their shoe into the leaf litter of the forest floor and scraped hard as they could. I took photographs of it as well, but sadly those are lost. More on that below. I continued my patrols, making totally sure not to bother the hole too much and keeping an eye on every angle around me in a complete sphere. I made sure to start affixing my bayonet to discourage anything jumping from the bushes or out of the tree if the rifle was slung over my shoulder. We have much to learn from Mother Nature, don't we? When I returned approximately a month and a half ago for pictures of the scratches near the hole, things got worse. Usually the anxiety sets in just as I would pass the cedar, but this time it hit me immediately as I stood on the porch, camera in hand and ready to document my findings. It got worse and worse each step I took towards the hole, climaxing as I took my photos. I wasted no time. I got my documentation, the lost pictures, and hurried back to the house, praying again. As I closed the door, a thought occurred. It was windy. The hole is at the bottom of the ravine, filled with large, old-growth trees. It suddenly got terribly windy when I was there. If stormy days are anything to compare, I would say winds were reaching 30 to 40 miles an hour at the bottom of the ravine, filled with wind-blocking trees. Temperature felt like it dropped about 20 degrees as well. I've been back since, but not often. Each time I visit, I say aloud that whatever is there does not have my permission to come with me back to the house, and most assuredly nowhere else I go. I've been there with friends as well, but nothing strange happened in any of those instances. I'm including pictures of, and then he gives a description of the pictures they included. But that's kind of crazy, and that's kind of similar to other ones I've heard about or talked about. Then I found. Let's see, I thought I had another article here. No. So then I found another article, and this is about the possibility of, say, a cloaking device. Now, I don't know. This is it's called The Possibility of Cloaking. It's by Stormy60 or Storm I60. He said, I've been watching back videos of Mike Hanks and Jim Harrell's Paranormal Report and came across this very interesting issue of the report. At the beginning of the show, Hanks and Harrell discuss a New Mexico ghost sighting, and Hanks brings up the subject of cloaking or invisibility technology as out-of-the-box explanation for the phenomena they are discussing. Later in the show, at about 2600 mark, the duo carry a story on cloaking technology experiment from the University of Rochester. I was intrigued by the idea, and especially by Mr. Hank's allusion to metamaterials. So I did a web scan and came across this eye-opening article. In the article, the writer notes that the breakthrough he is discussing would make the manufacture of these metamaterials, which can basically bend light around an object, practical on a much larger scale than would have been practical before. It might be possible in the very near future to manufacture enough of this material to hide large objects, the example being a tanker aircraft. Now, this is information in the public domain and readily available to anyone who goes looking for it. I have read on more than one occasion and from more than one source the idea that the governments of the world, and especially the U.S. with their vast resources and facilities, have tech that is at least 20 and sometimes 40 years from being discovered in the public domain. For the off-cited reasons of national security, these technical advances are highly secret. As my regular readers know, I am no conspiracy theorist. I do not believe in secret cabals running the world from the shadows, and I find the idea that our reptilian overlords are shape-shifting into world leaders so that they may more easily govern us laughable and paranoid. I am, however, convinced Arthur C. Clarke's adage that any sufficiently advanced technology will appear to be magic to those who are not as technically advanced. It says, in the case of the New Mexico ghosts explored in the aforementioned episode, police in New Mexico have a very compelling video of a figure making its way across a locked impound yard. The figure is definitely humanoid in appearance, but translucent. Honestly, I'm not sure what is on the video, but I doubt there's a person with some sort of cloaking technology engaged. The theory of invisibility tech is that one bends light, rays of light around the cloaked object. The figure in the video appears to have light going right through it, and it seems to move freely through locked fences and the like. A cloaked person would not be able to do that. The cloak is still covering a physical object. We know that. So he says, now given my magical leanings, I feel freely admit that I lean toward the spirit hypothesis. Yeah, well, I think we saw that, but yeah, but that brings up a good point. I don't, like this case in Washington, and I just recently heard of another case where it was a husband and wife in a car, and it was late at night, and I can't remember what the situation was, why they were out. I want to say they were taking a walk or something, no, I think they were in a car, and they lived very rural, and they were going down a road, and it was at night. It was very dark. I want to say it was after midnight sometime, and they witnessed something cross the road, and I believe it was a storm or something. It was raining, bad weather, and they witnessed this thing, and I'm sitting here thinking about these situations where these people are encountering these things, and it doesn't seem like, if the government or military has this capability, why are these people, why is there somebody from the military wearing this stuff walking around at 3 o'clock in the morning, traveling through woods or private land, or somewhere just very rural, that why would they be out in the middle of nowhere doing this, and what's the likelihood that somebody would cross paths with this person doing this? So I mean, it almost points to something else going on, and I don't know, with a lot of people have seen, I don't want to just turn this into a Bigfoot thing, but it is worth mentioning that there's been many. The first time I heard the term cloaking Bigfoot, I thought this is just craziness, but I don't know. I can't explain it, but we've got to mention it. I mean, there's too many people that have witnessed something, and actually there was a video not long ago that I saw, and this guy had a camera running, like a GoPro, on the back of his backpack, and he was hiking this trail, and as he comes up, he witnesses something. Um, he witnesses something as he goes past. You see an area like an anomaly. It's like like there's a tree and you see something big next to it, and it's like a darker green than the vegetation around it. So you can tell that something looks odd, but it has a definitive shape. And as he gets further around it and goes around a bend, he just kind of the trail kind of goes around a large tree, and as he goes around it, behind the tree there's some low vegetation. You can still get a clear shot back to where that anomaly was at, and all of a sudden the anomaly turns dark, almost like black, and you see it like almost drop down to like almost to the ground and move, and it is a creepy, freaky video. And whatever this thing is huge. I mean, it's massive. But it, the second part where the thing turns like a dark color, it looks like what people would describe as a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot down on all fours, or squatting, in a squatting position. It has almost like a cone shape to the top of the head. It looks like a head with like a cone shape. Of course, you can't make out a face or anything. It's just dark, a dark object. And so you don't have a lot of light on it. You're on a canopy of a forest. But it is fascinating footage. And, some people claim that they've witnessed a Bigfoot, and they see it walking, and they see it just become like almost invisible, or like it's bending light, like a cloaking mechanism. And some, speculate that could infrasound do this? Because many people who have gotten close enough or had close enough encounter with a supposed Sasquatch or Bigfoot type creature have claimed that they felt sick in their stomach, they had felt dizziness, they had real weird feelings, real heavy feelings on them, anxiety, strong anxiety, and that is a known side effect of infrasound, because there's plenty of animals that give off infrasound. I believe gorillas do it, elephants do it, tigers and lions I think do it. I know tigers do. So who's to say that these things aren't giving off, some people believe that it's the infrasound is causing, they can vibrate their body, which I guess is kind of what infrasound is kind of a pulsing, that they can put off, and, that it can, maybe it's doing something and can camouflage them better. I don't know. What do you think, buddy?
I think it's, I don't know about Bigfoot. I mean, of course, there's always the possibility,
I'm just
of
talking
course.
about infrasound in general.
That's, yeah. But infrasound makes people nauseous, and it's got a lot of side effects on the things in the area around it. It's not just, we
just went through that, but I'm talking about, do you think it could cause light to bend?
I don't think it could.
I mean, I don't know. You have, these, what do they call it? The military uses the sonic weapons. I don't know. I mean, could you give off enough? I mean, even mechanically, not just saying natural animal, but mechanically, could you create enough sound waves to cause light to refract or to move?
I don't know about that. I think you
can create enough sound waves to cause like a membrane of what. That's how that's how speakers work.
Yeah, but I think at that point, if you're creating that much infrasound, the cons would be worse than the pros. There would be.
I think it'd have to be tremendous. I mean,
the people around it would be affected. People would just start throwing up. It could affect people's brains. And
I think this is. I mean, a lot of these things are happening to people, but Yeah, you would think if a person is witnessing somebody, a creature camouflaging itself or cloaking itself via infrasound, that that person would also be reporting really bad feeling, not just anxiety, but like really, really messing with them, or possibly even heart palpitations or something, I would think.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so this next one, this one's from, it's actually from April 2nd, 2014. It actually talks about development of cloaking technologies. It says researchers are one step closer to creating shields that could render park tanks and aircraft virtually invisible. Debashis Chanda of University of Central Florida and his fellow researchers have developed a technique to much more quickly create the metamaterials with the potential to bend light rays around objects, creating, in effect, invisibility. In 2007, a group of engineers from Purdue University created a quote-unquote cloak design of cylindrically arranged nanoneedles that could deflect light around an object in somewhat the same way that light, when it hits water, bends around the object just beneath the surface, or a hot flat expanse can create the illusion of water near desert horizon. Rays of light composed of photons change in shape depending on the atomic properties of the objects that they encounter. The Purdue researchers could hide only large stationary objects because of the design's limits in terms of electromagnetic wavelength. And that is our Chihuahua in the background, scratching like he's losing his mind. That's enough. Crazy dog. So, apologize for that. In the years since, researchers from around the world have made steady progress in metamaterial design, but metamaterial doesn't exactly grow on trees. It has to be engineered at the nanoscale, 1/1000th of a meter in size. So creating enough of it to hide anything has been a challenge. Chanda and his fellow researchers have developed a technique that allows for the mass production of metamaterial through a type of printing process. So not only now that you have scratching, you heard the Chihuahua hacking.
Is he all right?
Yeah, he's fine. He got himself all worked up scratching. Well, he can't just lay down on his bed. He's got to scratch it before he... Crazy dogs. The technique creates stacks of metallic dielectric wafers that then merge together, chemically called nanotransfer. You create a stack and then another stack, and you actually grow them on top of each other chemically. Trying to explain. He said he can use this technique to print 4-inch by 4-inch areas of metamaterial that could, in principle, be altered to deflect light. The alternative method right now is having assembling individual pieces of metamaterial, most no bigger than 1/1,000,000th of a meter. Printing is high throughput based on a low cost nanotransferring printing technique. It says the material that Chandra created can simply be slapped on top of a tank or plane to hide it, but the printing process would allow for the faster creation of the sort of highly complex material with that capability. You should be able to engineer that, he said. We looked to just engineer a bunch of properties over a big area. One of those capabilities was partial invisibility. Specifically, he says that the material that he and his fellow researchers made had a negative refractive index over the 400 to 625 nanometer wavelength range. It could be used to hide large stationary objects, but probably not moving objects. That's just crazy. It's small, but important step in the realization of a cloak to hide large objects out in the open. Just make sure to make a reminder about where you left your F-35. So, and then there's another, where is it? I have another one here. And it is Harry Potter and the Army's Invisibility Cloak. Military tests Hogwarts-style device that shields troops from projecting their surroundings onto its surface. This is by Mark Nicole from The Mail. It says British troops have been testing a Harry Potter style, Harry Potter style invisibility cloak that makes them disappear on the battlefield. During field trials in the U.S., soldiers from the 3rd Battalion, the Rifles, 3 Rifles, used a high-tech camouflage sheeting called Vitek that even hid them from infrared and heat-seeking devices. But the Mail on Sunday understands that even more radical camouflage technologies are being developed that seek to replicate how cephalopods, such as squid or octopus, blend in with their environment and avoid predators. Their skin contains pigment-rich cells known as chromatophores, something like chromatophores, that react to external factors such as the threat of a predator to change color. Scientists have recently made significant steps towards mimicking this process, which they call visual appearance modulation, with a new material. One side of the material contains thousands of tiny light-sensitive cells that can detect surrounding colors. Electrical signals then trigger the top layer to imitate those colors by using heat-sensitive dyes. The change in color apparently takes 2 to 3 seconds. Scientific sources estimate that in 5 years, this color change technology could also be used to disguise military vehicles on the battlefield. The remarkable technology was first developed at the University of Illinois and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Engineering professor, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. I'm going to try it. Zwan-He Zhao at MIT said, "I have high hopes for its use in military camouflage. At the moment, the military spends millions of dollars developing new camouflage patterns, but they're all static right now. They don't change. If you put a pattern designed for the forest and the desert, it's not going to function. Dynamic camouflage would allow soldiers and their vehicles to adapt to their surroundings instantly," which is just awesome. The test by the 3 Rifles and American troops of camouflage material that is ready for use now against enemies such as Islamic State and the Taliban took place earlier this year at the U.S. Army Center for Experimental Warfare Techniques at Fort Benning, Georgia. During the trials, British snipers used VATEC, which can be molded into shapes to match mountainous terrain to build hideaways on a mock battlefield. Now you see them, British troops have pleaded with top brass to buy the latest camouflage equipment. They said they could not be seen even when the soldiers acting as the enemy tried to find them using the latest heat-seeking gadgets and infrared trackers. Corporal Tyrone Hoole, a sharpshooter with the 3 Rifles, said, "This is an absolutely brilliant piece of kit. The lads are desperate for the Army to buy it instead of carrying chicken wire, spray paint, and thermal sheets. We can use this one item, which is really light. Chicken wire, spray paint, and thermal sheets." It's a little step up in technology there, huh? So
Yeah.
I think this is the other encounter I was going to go through. This is a cloaked entity encounter. This is from Phantoms and Monsters. It says, "Hi, Lon. I've been an avid follower of Phantom Monsters for years, but have never bothered to submit any of the strange encounters I've had during my life. However, the reports of cloaked entities reminded me of one of the strangest." Excuse me. During the fall of 2010, I don't remember the exact date, my friend Jeffrey and I decided to go to our local GameStop late in the evening. We left the mall shortly before they closed at 9 p.m. and the weather outside had decided to rain. This is important as it led to me deciding to take back roads home instead of using the interstate. And it also allowed us to see what we did. The area is quite rural. In seconds, you go from city to countryside. After crossing one of the bridges over Interstate 55, the road has a small depression and then has a long hillside. As we neared the bottom of the depression, there was another car headed towards us at the top of the hill, about 500 feet away. And then something ran across the road just a few feet in front of my vehicle. The reason I say something is because there was nothing there, almost as if there was a hole in the rain. I imagine an animal about the size of a large cat or a dog the size of a cocker spaniel running through the rain and then take away the animal. I could see the raindrops hitting its back, roughly 18 inches above the pavement, and then the raindrops hitting the pavement around it on all sides. From the pattern it left in the rain, I had the impression that it was a four-legged creature due to the raindrop pattern being about 2.5 feet long and about 1 foot wide and 1.5 foot in height. It only took it about 2 seconds to cross in front of us from right to left. After it disappeared, I asked Jeffrey, "Did you see that?" His reply was, "I did, but I wasn't going to say anything because I didn't want you to think I was crazy." I have seen many things in my life, some of which I may share later, but this incident has to be the oddest one of all. I really appreciate any insight on it. So, that's crazy. I don't know. That's not the one I was thinking of, but that's pretty interesting. Could you imagine that? You're just riding and something runs across in front of you and there's nothing there. So, the last one I'm going to go over here is more about Bigfoot cloaking. It's called Bigfoot Advanced Concepts Stealth Mode. And this is from a website, bffieldjournalblogspot.com. It says, "I have an interesting theory about how the Bigfoot hide from us at times, and at times seem to disappear. During my research, I've noticed a phenomenon that I occasionally will capture on video recordings. I will usually get the gut feeling I am being watched. I then stop and take a video of the area where I think the Bigfoot is concealed. I will pause and video for a minute or two and sometimes zoom in and out of the area, then move on. When I review the video at a later date, I will notice a blurry area in the video. The foliage in the front of and behind this blurry area will be crisp focus. In a small number of these blurry areas, a faint figure can sometimes be seen. The figure is always out of focus, but recognizable features can sometimes be seen in the blurry area, such as nose, mouth, eyes, arms, shoulder, and upper trunk. I have checked my video camera and it's functioning correctly. The lens is clear of debris or finger smudges. The blurry area is in different locations on the frame, right, left, right, middle. I'm not seeing this blurry effect with the naked eye while I'm in the field. I only seem to capture it on the video camera. I began to do research on what could be causing this or what it could be. I found many eyewitness accounts where the person reports seeing a Bigfoot, then it just disappears in the thin air. Other witnesses have reported seeing a figure that resembles the Alien and Predator movies when using the artificial cloak. Native Americans have long believed the Bigfoot has supernatural powers to become invisible or shapeshift into other animals. The Native Americans believe this explains how, when seemingly cornered with no route of escape, the Bigfoot can just disappear from sight. Theory: the Bigfoot has the ability to use acoustics, infrasound, to excite and control water vapor molecules in the air around them. They use the water vapor as a prism to reflect and diffuse the light away from their bodies, creating a cloaking effect. The Bigfoot will appear to blend in with the environment around them to create a natural camouflage. This camouflage effect is created because the eye is seeing objects that are around the Bigfoot at different angles. This is this one. This is I believe this is the guy that videoed the one on the side of the on the side of the trail that I was talking about, with the camera facing backwards. And he goes into that part talking about it, which is not going to do you any good because unless you see the video. And but you know, that's an interesting thing. It would be interesting to know if people that witness the cloaking are only witnessing it in like heavily forested areas, and what time of day. You know, I mean, could he come up to have a point there with the infrasound and water vapors in the air? That would make more sense than just infrasound alone, you know. But it'd be interesting to know if people in dry, arid environments, because people have witnessed Sasquatch, Bigfoot all over, all different environments. Some of them where you wouldn't even expect there to be a creature like that, possibly or even potentially living, and people are witnessing these things. So it'd be interesting to compare and see if people see the cloaking, because that would kind of that would kind of go towards proving his point here about or his theory about infrasound exciting water vapors around the creature. If you're in a dry, arid environment where there's not much moisture in the air, very low humidity, you wouldn't expect to see that if that's the case. So I don't know. That's crazy. So anyways, you got anything you want to add about this, Harrison?
Nope.
So you're just quiet and nothing about it, huh?
Not really, no. You covered it pretty well.
Well, I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts? I mean, what do you think these people could be seeing in the woods?
I don't know. I mean, it could just be a gust of wind or something that happened to only be in one area, or it could be a Bigfoot that can use infrasound to bend light around its body. I mean,
well, I mean, how? I mean, you can't explain with wind these people that see a humanoid creature and it's moving, but it's like blending in with the surroundings.
Yeah. I don't know. It's really crazy thinking about it, whether they could be using infrasound or using, biological things like octopuses and squids, or if it may just be their own willpower, some kind of device, something otherworldly. Could be aliens or Bigfoot or some other creature entirely,
Yeah, and I mean, some people claim that, there's a groups of people out there, or that claim that, I guess because of this, that they believe Bigfoots are what do you call them? Portal jumpers, basically, that they can, they're interdimensional, and that when they do this, that they're actually going into another dimension. I don't know, but I've heard plenty of situations where people have claimed that these things will go into like a box canyon or something, and then they'll see one go into, witness a creature move into like a box canyon, and then they go behind it, and the animal's not seen. It's gone. It's just like it vanished or climbed up the wall or something in the canyon. And there's something, I know we kind of got off on the Bigfoot tangent. That wasn't my thing, but to me, if these people are seeing things at night or in the middle of the woods, in crazy places where you wouldn't expect to see anything, at times you wouldn't expect anybody to be out, in a very rural area, very rural setting, there's got to be something besides, the military is playing with some new gadgets or something for camouflage. Why would they do that? If they wanted to do that, why wouldn't they do it in a more, urban setting where they know they're going to get people's, eyes on them, to prove, their technology. But, so it almost points to some kind of creature, some kind of animal that is on the hunt or something like that. But it's very fascinating. So we'll kind of keep our eyes and ears peeled for more stories about that. Seems to be, kind of ramping up, but it seems that like a lot of Bigfoot and Sasquatch sightings are ramping up too. So, maybe it's a correlation there. But anyways, if you don't have anything else to add, we'll wrap this up.
All right.
All right. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Prepare to confiscate the humans' possessions. Possession secured. Prepare the probe.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Wait a hot second. No need for a probe, man. Why are you doing this anyway?
To learn from your kind. And to obtain your container of treasures.
Container of treasures? Oh, you mean my cryptid crate?
Yes, the cryptid crate you possess. We desire it. We have discovered it to be populated with many objects we find most incredible.
Correct. The objects in this container cannot be produced on our home planet.
Well, you don't have to abduct people to get your own cryptid crate.
Elaborate.
Just go to cryptidcrate.com and sign up. On the first of each month, a new box filled with amazing cryptozoology-themed items will come to your mailbox, or spaceship.
Allow us to show appreciation to you, human, for this invaluable information.
Yeah, sure thing. Does this mean you're going to take me back to Earth?
Not exactly.
All right, everybody. So that was Predator. That was Predator Cloaking.
Good job.
That's how I roll. Predator Cloaking. Predator Cloaking, and like I said, in the end of that, there's seems to be a lot of cases of that coming about, or maybe people are just hearing other people talk about it and start bringing it up. So maybe there's always been sightings that people couldn't explain, and now they're just getting the nerve to talk about it because they see other people are talking about it. But regardless of whatever it is, we're going to keep our ears peeled because there's probably going to be more of those coming out of the woodwork. And as usual, if you have a sighting or an encounter, whether it be predator, cloaking, humanoid, or Sasquatch, alien, UFO, cryptid of some type, large cat, anything, any unexplained sighting or encounter, and you'd like to share it, you can hit us up, unexplained.reality@yahoo.com. You can hit us up on Facebook. Come join our page there, our group page, or our closed group. Just send us a request and we'll add you. You hit us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. All these shows get uploaded to YouTube, and I think that's it. I believe that's it. If you like the show, we ask you to go rate us on iTunes or wherever your podcatcher is. If you have that ability, rate us, review us. It always helps. Just helps us bump up the charts or become more visible to other people that might have similar interests. I think that's all I have. You have anything else, buddy?
You guys stay safe over the break. It's getting cold, and roads and such are going to start icing over. It's going to get colder at night, so you guys just stay safe. Don't do anything crazy.
Yeah, especially if you're up north, because I think they're getting. We have his Harrison's sister, my daughter, is one of them is. Well, both of them are up north, and I think I know one of them's supposed to be getting snow over the next couple of days. So if you're in those areas, be careful. As Harrison said, stay safe. Don't do anything crazy. We're going to actually our temperature's is starting to drop here, but I don't think we have any chance of. I think there's maybe a slight possibility of one snowflake on Friday morning before the chickens wake up. So
yeah,
that'll probably cause mass chaos in our area here, because snowflake will just causes crazy things to happen.
In some places in the north, if the temperature's over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, they let school out. That's mind blowing to me, because in the summer,
that's why you're out over the summer here.
Yeah, I was gonna say most of the time in South Carolina it's over 100.
Yeah. We've had some. It was hot this summer, and last summer wasn't too bad, or the summer before last, but the summer before that was when we were in Germany, and that was a booger, because it was hot in Germany. But yeah, climate's changing, it's doing crazy stuff. So anyways, like Harrison said, be safe, keep yourself warm, stay inside, And listen to us. Share. Send us emails. Talk to us on Instagram, on Twitter. Send us pictures. Whatever. Tweet us. Like us.
Do something.
Us. Huh?
Do something.
Yeah, maybe we'll post some pictures of the Chihuahua.
Oh, yeah.
He likes to have his picture taken. It's a photogenic Chihuahua.
Extremely photogenic.
Yeah. So anyways, I think that's it for us. As usual, go check out RickyYoung.com. We use his music on the show here. He's gracious enough to let us use it. He's a local guy. But he lives in Nashville, and he's got a few CDs out. Check him out. And we'd like to thank our podcast we like to listen to, because they gave us inspiration to start this one. Sasquatch Chronicles, Into the Fray Radio, OK Talk, Mysterious Universe, Grayling Report, Expanded Perspectives. Speaking of which, real quick, on Expanded Perspectives, the episode that's out this week called Tiny Encounters, I believe it is. Awesome episode. You go listen to it. So it's incredible. Who else? Somewhere in the Skies, Monsters Among Us. The Confessionals. Oh, and Monsters Among Us. Go check out the Cryptid Crate. That's Derek Hayes runs that podcast and runs Cryptid Crate. Go check them out. CryptidCrate.com. I believe that's all of them, isn't it, buddy? The Secret Trans podcast also. And Cryptid Factor. All right, I'm done. Are you done?
Yep.
All right. Hope everybody has a good week. Hopefully we'll be back before the holidays. We'll try to get a couple episodes out before then. We won't make any guarantees because, we're slackers. You've found that out recently. So. Even though Harrison's so eager to be on these shows. So.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Have a good week. Stay safe. Stay warm. See you, Bubba.
Later.
She's a little bit wild. She's spoiled like a child, and when she smiles, she shines like a sunflower. She's got beautiful eyes, and she uses those eyes like she's exercising some kind of superpower. Well, I knew from the first it was never gonna work, and it was gonna hurt, but still I said hello. And that dress she was in was so light and thin, like a whispering wind, and she looked so good in yellow. Oh, the days drifted by like the clouds in the sky, and it was summertime, and sometimes I still miss it. Yeah, I do. 'Cause she laid in my arms while I played my guitar on the hood of my car. She covered me with kisses. Oh, the love we made was a fiery race through a breathless place, but sometimes it was mellow. Man, that sunset there falling on her hair, God, I swear she looked so good in yellow. Oh, but I couldn't blame him, 'cause she was in that dress again, and she looked so good